All right, how y'all doing out there? And what is going on a Friday? We are almost ready for week 4 in the NFL. The Atlanta Falcons return home after a triumphant victory in New York over those extremely overrated New York Giants. It's amazing to me. Last week, when you were going over a lot of the pregame things, folks were talking about it, and the New York Giants just assumed that the ghost of Eli Manning and the ghost of Michael Strahan was going to come out there and play for them against us. Listen, nobody's beating our chest about the perfect game or anything like that, but I'm not thoroughly shocked that we ended up winning that game because, quite honestly, I think we were the better team that day. I think it was too many opportunities that the Giants squandered, and we took advantage of situations. Yeah, look, when the Giants went in and scored the touchdown and got the 2-point conversion, there was a thought that the momentum was in their direction, and they were going to be able to stop Atlanta. And we went right back down the field, drove on them, did what we had to do, and won the game. So essentially, that's what we're looking for. That type of effort from our team. Hopefully, we'll be able to show up like that again, because winning this game in Atlanta is going to be so huge. 3 weeks ago, when we entered that field or entered that stadium at Mercedes-Benz, there was a brief thought of optimism, I should say. And hey, this is a new season, new coaching staff. Everybody's going to be hyped. Time to get this thing started. And then the game kicked off, and we all know how the Philly game went, 32-6 over a Philadelphia team who has since then lost 2 games in a row and matched us with their 1-2 record. So it makes you wonder, as an Atlanta fan, were we really that bad, or did Philly just catch fire and happen? The matchups were great, and Philadelphia took advantage of that. I think it's somewhere in between. I have definitely seen growth from week 1 to week 3. We all have the theories about how preseason played into the preparation for this season. There are a lot of us that may feel like, hey, we got starters out there a little bit, grease those joints up and been able to work together for a couple of series doing a couple of those games. Maybe they will. But for the most part, there was just a lot of, I don't know, it just didn't seem like they were quite ready that day. Now, the way they looked last week against the Giants, it gives you hope for later on in the year. It does give you hope to think that there are better things coming for this franchise. Look, the offense got a little work to do. It's still haven't exactly hit that stride. Saw some good things against Tampa Bay. Saw, glimpses of good things against the New York Giants, but still not exactly that offense that you need to compete week to week with a lot of these teams. Now, we've reached, in my opinion, which is kind of a Charmin tissue version of our schedule, where on paper, it looks like we're coming up with a few really, teams that we should be able to take care of. Washington coming into the year with the vaunted defense, everyone thought that they were going to be, all of that. They've kind of come back down to earth. We have a Jets team next week that probably at this moment probably looks like, next to Houston, maybe look like the worst teams in the NFL. And then coming off of that, we get Miami, who is struggling. Carolina, who they're 3-0, so 3-0 is what it is. But are they strong 3-0? I don't know. We'll see this week. They have their work cut out for them this weekend to see if that 3-0 is a facade, because Dallas, at least their offense, is looking very good. And kind of like I gave a couple of people and told folks, Dan Quinn, yeah, he might not have been the greatest head coach in the world, but I got a feeling from a defensive standpoint, he was going to have those boys ready to go. So let's see what ends up happening as far as that's concerned. As far as Atlanta, we have the Washington football team. Taylor Heineke is at quarterback. Ryan Fitzpatrick hurt early, so now is Heineke's team, and he has not looked great, but he's looked okay. Washington definitely looking for a spark. They got embarrassed last week by a really good Buffalo team, so they'll be looking for some sort of redemption coming into the weekend. Chase Young and the boys, that front seven, arguably one of the best, maybe right up there with the LA Rams, as far as the kind of pressure they can put on teams. What do we get from those guys for our Atlanta Falcons, a team that has been known to struggle on the offensive line, even though you've seen small bits of improvement, but are they ready for this type of front seven? Secondary can be exposed with Washington. I think that's something, if we can give Matt a little bit of time, if Matt can, put that ice hot on them knees just a little bit, just enough to step up in the pocket and get the ball downfield. One of the things I really hope we can do this week is get the ball downfield. Give these receivers a chance to eat in open space. We haven't had a lot of that. They had a lot of small passes. Again, it gets dictated by the defense that comes up against us, but let's see if they get an opportunity to, do some things with this offense. Anyway, how y'all doing out there? I am going to do a little bit of roll call. My brother Gregory, what is going on? Gregory says, we need this W. I predicted 2-2 by week 4, given the time and to incorporate Pitts and the team, get familiar with the Smith schemes. Christian, how you doing, sir? Am I tailgating this weekend? I will not be tailgating, but I will be at the game. I unfortunately won't get a chance to tailgate. If anybody is tailgating in the Atlanta Bird Gang group or in Uncle Steve's Lounge, please let us know, and we can pass that information on. We'd love interaction in here. Daniel says McGarry is who I'm worried about. Daniel, I'd agree. McGarry is starting to be the one that you almost say, maybe we shouldn't have tried to trade. He was the one that they traded to get late in the first round. Look, offensive linemen normally take a little while to get acclimated, so I'm willing to give him a shot, but we need to get that a little bit quicker. Get him rolling. What's going on, Ricky? How you doing today, sir? Good to see you in the house. Ron Thomas, nice to see you in, Ron. I appreciate you stopping by. Ricky says they are making progressive steps. Uncle Steve, the offense is firing on 6.5 out of 8 cylinders. The defense is firing on the same. To me, maybe a little bit better. If I had if you put me on the spot to say which side of the ball has shown the most promise in the first 3 games, y'all, not extrapolating out, But in the first 3 games, I would have to say the defense. The defense has done a really good job of keeping us in the middle of things. Again, for those of you who didn't watch the Tampa Bay game and say 43 points, how did they blah, 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 blah. Was it 43 or 45? Whatever it was. It's in the 40s. So for those of you who didn't watch the game and say they gave up that many points, actually they didn't. They gave up a lot in the first half, and offensively they gave up the one pass in the second half. Their defense did the rest as far as that game is concerned. Philip, what's going on, buddy? Said defense will have to carry us. They will. Defense looks like right now, if it's one side of the ball you're going to depend on, it's going to be the defensive side. Look, early, it's way early, but man, Isaiah Oliver actually balling out. Can you say that? I mean, last time we heard Isaiah Oliver's name with superlatives was the late run in 2019 when we finished the year 6-2 to save Dan Quinn's job going into the next year. Isaiah has played great, causing turnovers, playing good position ball. I like what I've seen so far from Isaiah. Good for him, and about time. Good for him for showing up. Donovan, what's going on? Donovan says, I love that we had to fight for a win. The NFL is not a cakewalk. And that's one of the things, man. Dude, Donovan, sometimes games like we did last week are what you need to give you the confidence to say, we can take that next step. Everybody else doesn't believe, the rest of the free world doesn't believe in Atlanta Falcons anyway. So sometimes you might have to just break it down, get into your own foxhole with yourselves and say, you know what? Nobody else is looking out for us. Let's look out for each other. So to your point, you're absolutely right. Good fight for the team, good scrappy win. And sometimes it takes a scrappy win to get you the confidence to say, you know what? We down 7 in the first quarter, so what? We down 10 in the first quarter, so what? We have the team that can at least put together a win. And that's what happened last week. Absolutely a good point. Dave, how you doing, sir? Dave is listening to us on Uncle Steve's Lounge on YouTube. Feel free to check us out over there if you get a chance to. Ricky says the defense has kept us in the game. They have. Scooter, how are you, sir? Says, I'm actually more scared this game because Ron Rivera can coach his butt off. I do think we get the W. Ron Rivera, which is kind of interesting because we kind of handled Ron Rivera when he was at the Panthers. I mean, sans the year that, Cam was beating everybody. And even that year we split with them. We were the only team to beat them in the regular season in 2015. But really, it's not like Ron Rivera has ever had this thing over the Falcons. I think he's a good coach. He seems like he is. Washington, superlatives all around on defense, even though they haven't played quite well so far this year. Long season to go. I think they get better. I just hope they don't get better on us this week. That's the hope. Daniel says, I always said McGarry was a guard, not a tackle. Switch him with Mayfield. McGarry has short arms for a tackle. Mayfield's a prototypical size to play right tackle. AJ Terrell against Terry McLaughlin. Yeah, that's going to be a really good matchup with McLaren. I'm sorry. That's going to be a really good matchup this week. Good to see AJ back at practice doing his thing. Ricky says he's a defensive coach, but Ron Rivera is scared about this game. He should be scared about this game. His offense is hitting on the same cylinders that the Atlanta Falcons offense is hitting on right now, which is subpar. And in order to win this game, listen, you can have the best defense in the world, but you got to score. And from that offense, they have not – they'll probably tell you to a man that they've underachieved in the Washington area. So and then now you're in a division where Dallas clearly looks like they're the class of the division. Much that I hate to say that, Dallas being the class of anything. But Dallas 2-1. Should have been 3-0. Tampa Bay coming back and getting them in the last second. You got to start looking at things like that, man. Washington had better get their act together. Let's just not get well against us. Christian says, hopefully our O-line does well with the pass rush. Young and the boys will be coming off the edge. And this is the game you don't want Washington to get well. You want Washington to stay in their lane and stay just as timid as they are right now. There's nothing about the Atlanta Falcons offense Washington is going to be scared of. This is just going to be a matter of our will against theirs. And we know the folks on the other side of the ball with Washington's defense. You just got to go out there and execute. They go out there and execute. I think we can get a win. Christian says, I'm so hyped to see how AJ matches up with Terry. Yeah, that is really going to be a good matchup. And also not overlooking Taylor Heineke's athleticism. Again, it seems like we've just had in a row, with the exception of Brady, these quarterbacks, these athletic quarterbacks. Keep those guys. Make sure you keep those guys in the pocket. Don't let them get out too much on you. I hope we have a game plan for that. Knowing Dean Pease, I'm assuming he does, because he's that guy. Ricky says he's already been talking about Matt Ryan and offense. He's not said anything about the defense too much. Yeah, listen, Ron Rivera has history with Matt Ryan. And we have traditionally beaten up on Carolina. And I say beaten up, not like 2-1, but I know we have the series over Carolina. In recent history, we've dominated Carolina. Yeah, last year, that's why that win last year early was a little bit of a shock, because usually Carolina doesn't do that well against us. But now that he's at Washington, I'm going to look kind of the same thing. I'm going to look at the same things with him. Some of the same reasons he wasn't able to beat us here. Ron Rivera is great, but there's nothing about him as a coach that says, oh, no, here comes a genius. I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying that there's nothing that scares me. We go up against Belichick. Yeah, you got history. You have championship pedigree there. And you got Ron Rivera. You got the tough-nosed, always in the game type of coach. But there's nothing that makes me say, oh, that's a Ron Rivera team. Better be scared. Dave says, Steve, what is wrong with some of this fan base? They want the coach fired. What you're getting now, Dave, is you're getting 3-game angst. We talked about it at the beginning of the year. You had all the offseason with all the talk and the things where we went at each other and talk about who was right, who was wrong. Should Julio stay? Should Matt stay? What free agent to get? Who should we get this week? All of this and all of that. And it culminated in that opening game against the Philadelphia Eagles, and you laid the egg. When that happens, negativity sets in. I don't think anybody, I was talking to somebody on one of the posts we were talking about today. I don't think to a person anybody thinks this Atlanta team is going to be mistaken for great. I think what you have is an Atlanta team that we're going to have to play to the best of our abilities to have a chance to win these games. This is not an extremely talented roster. This is an extremely gritty roster. You got a lot of folks that have traveled team to team, which is good, but there aren't a lot of folks talent-wise that jump out at you and say, "Ooh, that's a baller. Ooh, that's a baller." You got a lot of scheme guys here. A lot of guys that fit schemes. That's what it is. But as a team, which is how you have to win, is all that's important. I could care less if we win by 0.3 if we could. But as long as we win, who cares? Ricky says, got another athletic quarterback with Zach Wilson and the Jets. Yeah, the problem is with that, the Jets really look bad. Really look bad. Damon says, we've been beating Rivera coaches teams for decades. That's my point. There's nothing you say about Ron Rivera that makes you put on a coat and start shivering. It's really not. Brother David, how you doing, sir? Offensive line played well last week. They must play well this weekend if we are to have a chance. The offensive line has made strides. And when I say strides, compared to what they were doing in week one here in the Benz, they have made strides. Now, arguably, this is going to probably be the best front seven you've played, even with Tampa's star-studded defense that they had. This is probably going to be raw the best front seven so far. Let's see. This is going to be this is a barometer for your offensive line. Let's see if that progression, let's see if what we've been doing lately, if it continues, or do we regress against quite frankly a very good defense. Hadn't shown it yet, but just don't let those guys get any hope. Rick said his fan base is not patient. They want Folgers instant coffee instead of Starbucks. Again, folks, remember, fanatic. You want it quick. It's not. Look, I was having an argument with somebody earlier today or something, and we'll go over that later on. A lot of us are not coaches. We're not players. You might have played at your Pop Warner team or your high school team and some of you college, but nobody is on this level that's probably in these fan groups. Fans are going to be irrational. Fans want the team to go 17-0. Somebody was talking about the Atlanta Braves, and congratulations to them on the 4th straight National League title, how the Atlanta Braves are the worst division winning team this year. Who cares? If you get into postseason, it's who's hot at the time and who's playing together at the time. Same thing with football. How many wild card teams struggle at the beginning of the year and then end up winning the whole thing? What, Tampa Bay? Did Tampa Bay do that? Tampa Bay did the same thing, right? Because New Orleans won the division, right? If I'm not mistaken, last year. Refresh my memory. I think they did. So wild card teams, man, it's just a matter of getting hot. Whoever gets hot, that's the team that usually does it in the end. And so even for the Falcons, and I'm not trying to delude anybody. I'm not saying we're going to be in SoFi Stadium playing for the Super Bowl. I would love it, and absolutely, but it's going to take time. Fans don't have patience. We're not supposed to have patience. We're not. We're not rational. I admit that I get kind of, weird sometimes when we start losing and we start looking bad and you start saying, let's fire everybody, let's get rid of everybody. Of course we're not. We're fans. I would love to see when some of these people say about being fans that you sit there, that you have the fan that sits during the game. Oh, that's a 3-yard gain. Oh, another incomplete pass. Oh, we didn't get 4th down. We'll try it again next time. Uh-oh, here's their defense. Oh, no. Oh, they sacked Matt again. Get up, Matt. You can do it. I mean, that to me is amazing that I think people think you're supposed to have that type of demeanor during the game. No, I'm yelling and screaming for a 3-yard gain, a 4-yard gain, a 1st down. If the Falcons don't do anything, we're fans. I don't make an apology for that. And fans are impatient. Everybody doesn't have the patience of Job, y'all. Everybody doesn't. You have to slow down. You got to. Let me go to the other side here. Daniel says, if I'm not mistaken, they have all 1st-round picks on their defensive front. Probably do. Steve, do you know? I'm an offense coordinator. I've been so for almost 3 years. Yeah, I think I do remember you coaching, Daniel. And again, you're one of the few. But at the same time, even at that, everybody, the lens that you have as a coach and other people, I know my brother Kevin Thompson coaching, and a couple of other folks I know in the group that coach, there is a different lens you look at than fans. Fans are not supposed to be rational. Fans are not supposed to have patience. We don't. When you invest emotionally or financially in sports teams, whether it be football, basketball, baseball, soccer, hockey, tennis, whatever it is, you're invested in the success of whoever you're rooting for. And yes, there are times where you're going to be disappointed, but I'm not going to apologize for having a passion and maybe be even a little irrational about how my team does. So when I hear people always, well, the fans, y'all don't know anything. Y'all, yeah, well, know-it-all genius. You tell me how to be a fan. Show me a picture of you from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and show me how you are supposed to root for your team and how you're supposed to support your team. Because I want to see that. As sometimes it's kind of silly. Go back over here. Damon says, if you look at the preseason picks, no analyst gave us a shot. Not one. But what reason did they have to? What reason? You gave away arguably your best offensive player over the last 10 years. You got rid of a lot of folks. You had a lot of turnover. Your quarterback, still serviceable, but clearly is not in 2016 form. Your offensive line has going through transitions, still have yet to figure out that left guard position yet, and center at times. So there are a lot of things. There was nothing there for analysts or prognosticators to give Atlanta Falcons a chance. So anytime we get this, where people are kind of in their feelings about folks not being patient and not, it happens. It happens. No apologies for being, being a fan. Damon says, I hate to say it, but they do this for a living. Yeah, true that. Ron says, do you think our offensive line can shut down Chase Young this weekend, man? I don't think they're shutting down Chase Young. I think you have a way of maybe neutralizing him. Like, stay whatever side he goes on, go to the other side. But then you got to deal with Sweat. You got a lot of folks to deal with this Washington football team. It's not like they're got a lot of things to figure out. Damon says, why didn't we bring in Wilson? Ooh, trying to think who you're talking about, Wilson. And I apologize. Tell me who you're talking about, Wilson, Damon. The O-line needed as much help as possible. Yes, they did. Absolutely. Christian says, on Monday Night Football, Peyton Manning said the same thing you have been preaching during the offseason. The game is changing, and teams now need to start looking at athletic quarterbacks that can move out of the pocket and feel pressure coming. That's Peyton Manning talking, Christian. So if Peyton Manning, who basically is the one where people like Matt Ryan and folks after him came out, if Peyton is saying that, I mean, he sees what's going on. He sees the changes in the evolution in the quarterback. So Christian, I almost wish Peyton could come over here and tell us that and say, you're right, Steve, you're right. Speaking of players. Hey, y'all give a shout out to Tidy, man. That was an awesome interview yesterday with Quincy Carter, former UGA great, and Quincy won a SEC championship. Quincy Carter, SEC championship, Southwest DeKalb, stalwart. I ain't got much love for Southwest DeKalb because I was Douglas High School, and back in the day we were in the same division. But Quincy was a beast when he was in high school, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Quincy was the #1 quarterback, I think, coming into college when he was recruited. So Quincy came on and chopped it up with one of our admins, Tidy, man. Tidy did an excellent job. So if y'all get a chance to drop a vine to Tidy, man, being able to bring folks like that in to talk and go check it out in the Atlanta Bird Grain group. And just a very good interview. He gave kudos to Tidy and the job he did and the type of things that we're trying to bring into the group and the folks to get perspectives on people who actually play the game and see what they think. Because I think he was talking not only as a football player, but truly as a fan. If you sat down and listened to what he said, that was some good stuff that he had down there. What's up, Derek? How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. Good to see you on the line, my friend. Daniel says, Deion Sanders need to hire me to be his OC at that games. Be so boring to watch. And, Deion is probably going to end up at FSU. I'm sorry. I know Jackson State is saying, stop saying that. But he's going to end up at FSU. They are struggling. Christian says, Steve and Peyton said if he was still playing right now, he would have struggled. That says a lot from a Hall of Fame quarterback. Christian, and again, in a lot of people's opinion, even as great and as much championship pedigree as Tom Brady has, there are some people that will still tell you Peyton Manning, pound for pound, was actually a better quarterback than Tom Brady. I know since Peyton left, and Tom has won about 2 or 3 more since, but there was a very huge argument. Even when Brady won 2 or 3 and Peyton only had 1, there was still a lot of people that think and still think that Peyton is the prototypical quarterback. When you show film, you don't show film of Tom Brady. You show film of Peyton Manning. Because Peyton Manning was golden from the moment he was high school, Tennessee, Indianapolis, and even with a bad neck, messed up shoulder, still led Denver to a Super Bowl. So, yeah, I don't even know what else you have to say about that. Peyton is on point. He's definitely on point, Christian. Isaiah Wilson, big boy, Damon. I have no idea. But is he now? I know he got released. Is he with anybody right now? Remind me of that, man. Remind me whether he's has anybody signed him or not. I'm trying to bring this down. David said, yeah, out of UGA. Yeah, but he got released from the Patriots. Where is he now? And I might have lost lost track of him. I say, Ron says, I can't stand that school. I went to Avondale High, so I know Avondale. Yeah, Southwest DeKalb. Yeah, when Quincy was there, they were beating everybody. They were beating everybody when he was there. And Quincy was about 10 years after I was. But those boys were good. David says, if Deion don't end up at FSU, I'll be shocked. FSU looks bad. And they're supposed to have the #1 quarterback at this moment coming into FSU next year. Now, the way FSU is struggling, I don't know if I want to go there right now, but who knows? David says a mess of rumors about prime time and USC as well. I don't think that. Nah. He'll go to Florida State way before he goes to USC. I was listening to somebody talking about USC might try to give Kiffin another shot, but I don't know. Damon says, I see him as at Jackson State as an interviewer for larger college jobs. I agree. Kivia said, what you know about Douglas High? I graduated from Douglas in 1975. Now, brother, I can't speak to 1975, but I was about 12 years after you in 1987. So I know my my Douglas High stuff. You back in 75. You might have been that. When did Spencer come out? Spencer came out. Now, Spencer might have come out like in 79. Greg McGee came out a little later than you. Yeah, you got a little time over there, brother. At 75, I don't know a whole bunch of folks in 75, but I'm sure we know people who have crossed paths since then. My fellow Astro. Good job. Blood Sweat, that's Cam. What's going on, Cam? How you doing, brother? Good to see you on the Uncle Steve's Lounge. Like I said again, don't forget, y'all, if y'all get a chance, just hit me a subscribe, man. Spread the word and just hit it on there, man, so we can get some action going on in that particular YouTube page there. Christopher, what's going on, Christopher? He says, I absolutely agree that he is better than Tom Brady. And I, Christopher, these days, people judge how great you are on championships. That becomes that extra asterisk. I've never thought that. I think Terry Bradshaw, to me, and don't come at me, Steelers fans, I think Terry Bradshaw was one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. I'm not saying he wasn't good, but Lord, the defense on that team, the offensive tools on that team with John Stallworth, Lynn Swan, Rocket Blyer, Franco Harris, and then add on top of that too many people to name on defense. Mean Joe, Lambert, just Tony Dungy chopped some wood on that team, on one of a couple of those teams in the 70s. So just a lot of talent. And listen, Terry had to throw it, so you got to give him his credit. But I've never thought that Terry Bradshaw was one of those folks that deserved to be mentioned as one of the greats in the game. So as much as people will say Tom Brady is the GOAT, he is. But I think if I had an opportunity to start my team, I'd start my team with Peyton Manning before I started with Tom Brady. And I know that sounds blasphemous these days with probably the youngsters, but, we'll see. Cam says Fowler's looking decent so far, 2 strip sacks, and all he had 2 sacks. Listen, let me tell you something, Cam. Don't twist it. Fowler is out to prove. Dude, Fowler, to a man, has come out and said, I hear y'all, and I'm not talking about just the average fan, but just the organization. I hear y'all. I let y'all down. I'm coming with something different this year. Bruh, Fowler is balling. Fowler is out there balling. So I give him credit. Let's see. Let's see how that goes. Christopher says, I went to Columbia. So, yeah, Columbia High. No love for Southwestern Cab either. And none at all. Hey, here's another Astromis Lisa. How you doing, ma'am? Yes. 225 certified. Well, it used to be 225 high top. What is it now? Hamilton Homes? I forgot what they called it, but yes, ma'am. 225 certified. Damon, Mays High, 1990. Yeah, I'm gonna delete you in a second, Damon. Nah, I'm just playing with you. I chop wood with a whole bunch of Mays folks, but I tell you, when that rivalry, Douglas Mays, that was nasty. That was nasty because y'all were the new kids on the block. when we were just hitting I don't think Mays started 79, 80. It couldn't have been, yeah. It was either like very late 70s, early 80s. Because Southwest was still a high school then, so it had to be early 80s. It had to be early 80s when Mays started. So yeah, y'all got no love for that old powder blue up there on the hill, hiding up there in the hill. David said he had one hell of a defense. I could have played for Pittsburgh in a Hall of Fame right now. Listen, and think about that, Damon. Take Terry Bradshaw off that team. And for those Atlanta Falcon fans, put Steve Bartkowski on that team for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steve Bartkowski probably could have been a better quarterback. I'm just saying. Y'all get mad at me all you want to. And I can be a homer for my Falcons all you want to. But I'm just trying to tell you, Terry had it stacked. Terry had a stacked team. That's why Dallas couldn't get around them. They were stacked. Chuck Noll had a squad. And when you think about it, really, shoot, the Raiders slapped around Pittsburgh a couple of times and stopped them from really being that New England type of dynasty in the 70s. Because they got to 4, but it could have been more. It's not like Pittsburgh just had those 4 years. And Oakland was giving them problems. Miami would give them problems. There was a lot of, yeah, man, I love going old school with some of y'all. I love it. Christopher said he had studs all around him. Bradshaw is overrated. David said he just had a great team. He had an awesome team. Brady was the NFL golden boy. The league was cheating for him to win. I believe that too. They needed Tom Brady. You needed a villain. Every good story needs a villain. You need a good guy and a villain. Peyton Manning was the good guy. Tom Brady was the villain during their rivalry. No doubt in my mind. People give reverence to Tom Brady, but in that battle, when it was in its infancy, when they first started, it was clear that Peyton Manning was the hero and Tom Brady was the villain, especially when they started cheating. Cam said, you know how I felt about Fowler in his signing. I respect him for taking that chip on his shoulder and playing with everything within him. And listen, he did, man. He did. David said, yeah, that's the real rivalry, man. Yeah, we played, John. I'm telling everybody. Trying to think, what was that? Was that our junior year? No, it was my senior year. Because y'all couldn't beat it. Y'all couldn't beat us in football back then. Back then, and Lisa online, she'll tell you, y'all were puppies back then. We beat y'all one time, then y'all started throwing bottles at our bus, man. I was in the marching band at Douglas, and we beat y'all. And some of your kids start throwing rocks at the bus. How you gonna throw rocks at the bus because you can't beat nobody? I should have been using all that energy to help them boys on the field. Start throwing rocks. Oh man! So yeah, I think it was 1980. Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, I know. Whenever Southwest, I guess, ended. So I'm almost positive Southwest got to a class of 80. So that might have been right around that time. Chris said Steve would have been a Hall of Fame on that team. Absolutely. Bartkowski would have been the man. Chadwick, how you doing, sir? Good to see you. If Atlanta had grabbed Lombardi in 66, yeah, he wasn't coming to a new franchise, though. David says those were the years when football was real. Football was, man, I say it's hard because, listen, when you get popular, things change and how they do things now. I have no problem with the modernization of the NFL and the things they do now to get the fan more interactive and things. No problem at all with that. So hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do for these teams. David says 70 Steelers, 11 in the Hall of Fame. Whoa. Didn't even know that, David. 11. 6 in the top 100 players of all time. Man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Going over here, Daniel says Terry Bradshaw isn't even in the top 20 for me. Said Mays High School was founded in 1981. So, okay, that makes sense. 1981. I said I was at Collier Heights during that time for those folks who remember back when Collier Heights was around, the elementary school. So I know we in elementary school, I remember Southwest still being there. So that's not a big shock that it was right around that time. Ron says Brady is the GOAT for cheating. Oh man. Tapper said Green Bay was new. He went there. Yeah, but the difference was he was established by the time the Falcons got there, though, Chadwick. And even though the Super Bowl was just getting started, remember, he had championships with the Packers before there was a Super Bowl. So why would you leave success to come to just starting out in the South team in 1966 and a team that you have to start from scratch? Now, there are some people that look at that as a challenge, but as far as I'm concerned, you know, hey, I don't know. Not me. Said no, it was in New York. Well, what was in New York? I'm sorry. I must have missed what we're talking about. Okay, let me get to, before I get ready to let's do our picks for the week. Now, normally I have it on my screen, but I didn't get a chance to do my my little come down screen stuff this week. So I'm going to share the screen here, and we'll go down the list and talk about these games coming up. Starting at the list, I'm going to say the Falcons for last because that's one of the that's the team we, of course, obviously want to root for. Houston at Buffalo this weekend. Buffalo with a great game against the team we're playing this week, Washington. Looks like Buffalo might be back to what we thought they could be. They had the ugly loss against Pittsburgh at the end. And Pittsburgh, thank goodness, they beat Buffalo because Pittsburgh has been looking pretty bad. I don't look at that being a game at all. Buffalo should roll in that particular game. Houston, at this point, the biggest news from Houston is what they're going to do with Deshaun Watson this year, which is a kind of a mystery to me on how they're going to handle that. But Buffalo, Houston, no big surprise. I think Buffalo's going to be the team right there. Detroit at Chicago. Chicago, Justin Fields. Of course, Justin Fields seems like he's getting more play in our group than he does anywhere else. I'm sure Chicago is thinking about him too. All I say is about that, and I don't want to dwell on the Justin Fields topic because it's boring to me, and we keep talking about what did, what if, what not. He's gone. But I will say this. I think this narrative about Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Matt Jones, all these things where people are like, no, the rookie quarterbacks or whatever. As we were talking about earlier with how things used to be in the day, folks, rookie quarterbacks are not going to jump out and dominate from the beginning. That's not how it goes. These guys need to keep their feet wet. I think Justin Fields is going to be just fine. And if you talk about a get-back game, this might be the get-back game. I think Chicago takes them out. Detroit has shown some fight in a couple of the games they've had. So it's not like this is going to be easy, but I think this is going to be definitely a get-back game for Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears. Look for them to do what they do. Carolina at Dallas. Dallas is just one of those teams that I just, in my heart, soul, because of 1980 and what they did to the Atlanta Falcons in the last 2 minutes, the miserable Danny White, Drew Pearson, and even though I respect Drew Pearson, he was a bad boy. But I just can never root for Dallas. I will never, ever, 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 ever look at them as one of those teams that I will root for openly unless they're going against New Orleans. But Carolina right now, I just don't see without McCaffrey, man. What's my name? Hubbard did a pretty good job coming up in there and doing what he did. I think it's going to be a good game. Dallas has had too much firepower, man. Too much firepower. And is that their first game at home? I think that's their first game at home, if I'm not mistaken. Might be wrong, but they will roll. Dallas will score a lot of points. I can't stand Dallas, but trust me, I think they're going to show up. Indianapolis at Miami. That's kind of one of those toss-up games, man. I don't think that's a tough one. And then Miami is down to Brissett. They're at home. Indianapolis, you know what? Toss up. I got a coin over here somewhere. If I had a coin, I'd toss it up. Okay. Toss it up imaginary. I'll take Miami just because they're at home. I really don't have a dog in the fight. I'll go with Miami. Cleveland at Minnesota. Minnesota, Kirk Cousins. Some passionate play last week. Is that what is going to be to open them up? I mean, Jefferson showed out last week. Just a great offensive showing. Alexander Madison in relief of Dalvin Cook with some good stuff. I like what he did. So even though Cleveland is no slouch and Cleveland looks like they're hitting their stride and what could be a two-man race in the AFC, well, scratch that with Cincinnati winning last night. Maybe it's not the three-team race we thought it was. Maybe it's going to be Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Baltimore. But either way, I like Minnesota at home. Though I think Cleveland is a decent team, I will like Minnesota. We'll go there with that one. The New York Giants at New Orleans. Jameis Winston still with the hot and cold. They were able to do what they did last week. New York Giants, as we saw last week, nothing that special to talk about, but I will be rooting 100% for the New York Giants this week. As hard as I was rooting against them last week, I will take the Giants because I just can't in my fiber root for New Orleans. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Tennessee at the New York Jets. It could be kind of interesting in this game. Look, at some point, New York has to show a little bit. They haven't showed much at all this year. Zach Wilson is going to go through his growing pains, y'all. Don't throw it out on him right now. I think the young man will be okay. We just got to wait for him to mature, wait for him to get a year under his belt in this stuff. But I think he'll be fine. But it's not going to be this week. Tennessee should roll over the Jets. Kansas City at Philadelphia. Philadelphia, who took that national behind kicking this week against division rival Dallas. They had the little T-shirts made. The coach, I thought that was kind of funny that he got that stuck right back in his face. And the 1-2 Kansas City Chiefs, man. Listen, it's early. Mahomes isn't going anywhere. Tyreek Hill isn't going anywhere. Kelsey isn't going anywhere. Slow start. Super Bowl champions have had slow starts. I'm not ready to exactly write off Kansas City this season. Definitely not writing them off this Sunday. Look for Kansas City to get some get back against Philadelphia. Going into the 4 o'clock games right now, in my opinion, the team to beat, if you should say, I like the LA Rams, man. If you think about what Matt Stafford has now, He's making Cooper Kupp an all pro. And not that Cooper Kupp was bad before, but geez, Matthew Stafford is taking it to the next level. And boy, if they can get anything out of Sony Michel, they got little peaks last week. The Rams are going to be tough. I like Arizona. I think they're a good team. Kyler Murray, I must admit, I may have been a little wrong about him. I thought Kyler Murray would struggle a lot more just coming into the league. Now, looking 3 years from now, he definitely is one of the more excitable players in the league and has Arizona in a good place. Just don't think it'll be this week. I think the Rams just have way too much. Look for the Rams to take out Arizona in a good game, but I think the Rams will get them. On the other side, the other NFC West matchup will have Seattle at San Francisco. I just think right now, Seattle, they're one of those teams, and I don't think Russell has hit a wall or anything like that. But it seems like Seattle just, all the fanfare, during the Legion of Boom years, Seattle had a little aura around them, the aura and everything surrounding and what they did and the Russell Wilson and the defense and stuff like. Now you just say, they're okay team. They're fine. Russell isn't going anywhere. Russell isn't doing, he isn't regressing as far as anything is concerned. But I just think right now, San Francisco is the more talented team. And I think at home, San Francisco has a really good chance to beat them. Look for San Francisco to take out Seattle in that game. The 3-0 Denver Broncos against against Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens, who are by the skin of their teeth, 2-1, and lucky to be in that position with the 66-yard field goal last week by Justin Tucker. Oh my God, that was pretty good. Denver is on a little bit of a roll, man. And look, I don't think anybody thought that they would come out like this, but why do we go against them right now? At home, Baltimore, traveling to the West Coast up there in that altitude. Lamar got to do a lot of running up there. I don't know, y'all. This might be my little surprise of the week. I think I like Denver in this game. It's something to be said about playing confidently at a certain time. And almost the same thing with Carolina. Difference being Carolina is missing one of their main cogs in offense. I don't know. Baltimore has not been playing well, if you ask me. I don't think they've been playing that great. Definitely didn't play great against the Raiders. Definitely didn't play great last week against Detroit. So there is nothing about Baltimore that makes you think about the team last year. I like Denver in this game at home. Pittsburgh against Green Bay. You talk about a tale of two teams. Pittsburgh starts the year. Good win on the road against Buffalo, team that was very close to making it to the Super Bowl the year before. Green Bay, first week out, didn't even put up more than 3 points against a New Orleans team that beat them by 35. And you said in week one, man, those teams are – Pittsburgh is going to be one of the great teams in the AFC, and Green Bay is going to be one of the sorriest. Well, 2 weeks later, we're trying to wonder, do we need to start the funeral procession for Ben Roethlisberger and his fellas up there in Pennsylvania? Because Pittsburgh has not looked good at all. And Ben has grown old in a matter of 2 weeks. And if they don't get that straight, that's going to be very interesting to see. I think Green Bay at home and Rodgers ticking like he is, Devonta Adams doing what he's doing. This could get ugly quick. I like Green Bay big in this game. And the game that everybody's talking about, the overrated return of Tom Brady to New England. I'm not from New England because I can give a care about this game from a sense of nostalgia and all of that stuff. As for all the media to talk about, Tampa Bay is a better team right now than New England is. I don't care whether Tom Brady comes in there. I don't care whether Green Bay goes in there. I don't care whether San Francisco goes in there. Right now, New England is not the team they were when Captain America was at the helm a couple of years ago. Look for Tampa Bay to go in there Sunday night and kind of low-key embarrass the Patriots in that particular game. And a very good game coming up on Monday. Las Vegas, who have looked good, man. Dude, all of a sudden, the AFC West with Denver at the top, Vegas right there, Chargers 2-1, Kansas City bringing up the rear at the moment. That won't last. But man, AFC West trying to flex a little bit. Chargers at home makes me think they might have a eyelash of a chance against the Raiders. I don't know. Jacob still hasn't looked like he's completely healed up yet. Now, if Jacobs is 100%, it could definitely be a different game. But I like the Chargers and their weapons at home. Mike Williams sighting now all of a sudden to match up with what Keenan Allen can do on the other side. Eckler still doing Eckler things. And Herbert showing rookie quarterbacks that, yes, you take that first year and you take your lumps. Now he's starting to look like what the promise was. You look at Joe Burrows yesterday. Now you're starting to look to see what the promise is. It's like almost like a perfect scenario for those guys that are ready to just bury the first round picks this year. Herbert and Burrow is in the same boat. And now it's early, but they're thriving. Got to give these guys some chance. And I will give Herbert a really good chance tomorrow against, not tomorrow, on Monday against the Las Vegas Raiders. Going back to the top, the Atlanta Falcons take on the Washington football team. And the Washington football team came into the year, a lot of hype, great defense. Ryan Fitzpatrick, veteran journeyman, see if he can lead them to greener pastures where he got hurt early. Heineke is there. They have Terry McLaurin. They are looking to be balanced more on offense. Right now, they haven't done that. I like the Atlanta Falcons to right the ship, bring a win to Mercedes-Benz Stadium and take them out. I'm going to look at the score. I don't think it's going to be super high. I'm looking at Falcons 24, Washington 17. That's what I look at in the game this Sunday. I'll be there. I'll be talking to y'all probably at halftime like I normally do from the stadium, give y'all a little insight on what's going on. Until then, man, enjoy your Friday. Happy Falcons Friday. We will catch y'all this weekend for the Falcons game. Go Falcons. Y'all take care of yourselves. Peace.